There we go. Okay, folks, I think I'm ready. Finally ready. All right, so today it is February 3rd, 2024. I'm just going to do a video on, looks like on the TradeStation platform. For the forums, there are a few people who have a couple of questions. So I know that John is really good. He responds to pretty much everybody on there. So he has the script on there, but I'm just going to kind of go through the process. And at least for me, going through the process helps me. Whoever the folks who are looking for the assistance, I don't know if it helps them more to actually see it or have it given to them, or to have it to see the process. So I'm going to go through the process here and see if I can't come up with what they were looking for. And then I'm going to do something with ticks. I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do, but so I'll just start with the first part and see what we have, and then we'll go from there. And I don't even know if I'm going to be successful with this right away, but we'll try doing it live, and if it works out, it does. If it doesn't, then, you know, I am an imperfect person in an imperfect world. All right, so we're just going to open up the coding development environment. All right, let's see here. We want to put this side by side, like that. Okay. And then the first one was, what were they looking for? They were looking to do multiple data streams. So actually we can leave this enlarged for right now. And then we're just going to open up another chart. Could do it on Mesh Desk. Yeah. I have a lot of stuff on the Mesh Desk right now. So let's open up a new app, chart analysis. And so what this person was looking for was something that I was looking for earlier on quite a bit. I was looking for the ability to be able to use multiple data streams, multiple time intervals. And so, you know, and then be able to do different things with it. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to have multiple data streams. Okay, so this is your first data stream. This is your chart. It's on the 5-minute time frame. And then if you go over here to customize symbol, it's the gear icon with the number sign. You go to that, you see when you tap that, you see that there's only one market that shows up, and this happens to be mark on the 5-minute time frame. That's the symbol. As far as scaling, it is the main graph. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go here to this icon, which is the number sign, and I don't have the original layout for the tools, so you might have to go to toolbar options, customize, and then go to commands and something like all commands, and then find add symbol. Okay, it might already be on yours, but there's add symbol right there, and then you can take that and you can literally drag it up to wherever you want it. Right? All right, but I've already have one, so we're going to cancel that. All right, so you go to here to add symbol, and then so for the add symbol, you're just going to put the exact same one that you have, mark. All right, you can put prompt for editing. That just allows you to go ahead and change the scale, put it where you want to put it. So we're going to put scaling, and then we'll put it on subgraph 2. So we'll start with that, just to help you visualize what's going on. Subgraph 2. All right, and then it shows up down here, right? So this is the subgraph 2. Subgraph 1 would be on this first graph. It will be down here. All right, so subgraph 2 is down here. All right, now we can change this, right? So now I have hotkeys set up for a lot of my stuff, so I don't even know how to go through the normal way. But let's see. You can change the time frame there. Style, I was actually just going to change the entire thing, but I think you can double click it, right? So you get on the actual market, you get on the bars, double click, left click, all right, and then it'll pull up that it's marked 5-minute time frame. Settings, you can change it, right? So instead of it being marked, you can change it to, I don't know, DWAC. It's just always in my head for some reason. DWAC. All right, so now you have mark at the top, DWAC at the bottom, which some of the times you may want to do something like that. You may want to have ES at the top, and then at the bottom, you might want to have NQ, right? So they're both like kind of follow the indices, but there are futures. ES follows SPY and NQ follows the Qs. All right, but you see they do something very similar. So maybe on your chart, sometimes you want to have this running at the same time so you can see what's happening on one, make sure it's happening similarly on the other. You see here, NQ, when it makes this move up, it flattens out. That's leading up to 4 o'clock. But here, when ES moves up, it doesn't really flatten out. It actually moves up a little bit more. Okay. What do you do with that information? I don't know. But, you know, whatever you're doing with your charting, this may be helpful for you. Now, the other thing that I found out that I come to realize is that if you want to, well, we'll look at that in a second here. So let's open up an indicator. We're going to make us an indicator. All right, and we'll just call it 2 time frames. It'll be an indicator. All right, TS 2 time frames. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say, because we see that the bars are very close, right? So we want to see what the actual difference is between, if you look here, I'm going to zoom all the way in and see this open here. And this will be, I guess this will actually be harder to do. It wouldn't be harder to do, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it this way, and then we'll try it a different way. So I'm going to compare these 2 different tickers, and then we'll go back and we'll compare the same ticker with a different time frame. Show you how to use that data. All right, but essentially, if you're looking at the open here and the close here, and the open here and the close here, they do one thing, but each chart is based on its own price. This chart is based on a price of 4,900. This chart is based on a price of 17,400. Okay, so it's not apples for apples. However, because the charts do kind of parallel each other, we can still do the math between the two. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say that to plot one, this is what we're actually plotting. We're just going to plot the close. So we'll see what the difference looks like. It should be, if they are 1 for 1 and they both are parallel doing the exact same thing, then it would just say 0 across the entire thing, because that difference it'd just be the same. Whatever number it would be the same. That the slope of that line would be the same all the way across. But we're going to see some nuances, I'm sure, because we already see here that this bar is this long. Well, I mean, relatively, NQ has a little bit longer bar. NQ has a little bit longer bar. NQ's bars here are still a bit larger. ES tends to find more middle ground. Okay. All right, so we're just going to use a close. We're going to say close, and to use this is the first one. So if you go back up here and you go to customize symbols, that gear icon with the pound sign, you'll see now data 1 is ES. Data 2 is NQ. Remember when we looked at it before, it only had the one symbol. That's because there was only one symbol on it. Now we can add another symbol, but it just say data 3 and data 4 and data 5. So let's, again, knowing that ES is data 1 and NQ is data 2, we're going to say close of, and I don't think you have to say of, you can say close data 1 minus close data 2. That's it. That's it. That's comparing one data stream to the next. That's it. Verify that. Come back over here. We're going to add that to the chart. That's an indicator, is TS 2 time frames. Okay, and with that, we just hit OK. All right, and you see it plots it down here. Right? So now you see the difference, which is actually looks kind of significant. As the chart is moving up, the difference tightens. Interesting. As the price moves up, the relative distance tightens. Or, yeah. And then you see here when it went up, it tightened super tight. And then that was also the top of the move. Tightened. And so the price dropped. Okay. Let's see. Maybe do this as a, I'm trying to think if I do this as a percentage. Maybe a percentage of the actual price or one of the prices. We'll do it of price one. Okay. All right. And so then I just changed the symbol to ES, right? So now it's ES and ES, right? So the difference between the close up here and the close down here is 0 because they're exactly the same. They're exactly the same. Now, if you did something like different time frames, you change this to, and I think usually the smaller time frame has to be at the top, so we'll change the top to a 1 minute time frame. All right, now all this changes. And essentially, I believe that this bar, because this bar doesn't show up until 3:30 is done, right? So until 3:30 is done, this close here is the close that will show up. Now remember, we got two different markets going on here. We have this market down here and we have this market up here. Down here, this 5-minute bar holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars of data. These bars up here has its own data bar for each minute. So what close do you use for these up here? You use the close of its bar. What close do you use for this one down here when there's nothing in the middle? You use the close that was last printed. Okay, so it's going to use this close right here. So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind when you're doing multiple time intervals and you're using the same, you put them in the same indicator. All right, so you get something a lot more funky there, but again, is that even worth looking at? I don't know, probably not. So I think that's it in a nutshell, how to use two different data streams. You have to use the data 1 and the data 2. And I've tried it before where, I don't know, I've tried it different ways, but anyway, just always, whenever you're using whatever variable you're going to use close, use the data 1 and data 2. All right. Unless you go up here and you do something like value 1 equals close data 1. Then it's assigning value 1 to be in data 1 always, right? So instead of putting close data 1, now you could just put value 1. And it's the same thing. See, same line. Okay, but now if we took this and we make that data 2 and verified, now we have a different line. Because now it's essentially saying the close of data 2, which is here, minus close of data 2, which a number minus a number is, nothing over data 1. So. All right, but anyways, this is 0 as a numerator, so it's going to be 0. Okay, so I think we'll move on from that. The next one is somebody was interested in finding the number of bars when EMA crosses under EMA 20 on a downtrend. So this one will be a good one for me to work on because, and John, he recommended using a vector instead of an array. The person was suggesting maybe using an array. But I like the idea of the vector because it's got the different indexes that you can use, but I think an array works also, especially if you do like I think the benefit of doing a vector, and John didn't put this on here, but the benefit of using vector is that it like stacks. So it'll store as many numbers as you need it, and then you can actually erase it and it'll start over if you want to. Whereas an array, you have to assign, the array will be this big, right? It'll hold 1,000 variables, just in case our chart has 1,000 instances. Whereas a vector, you can just say, hey, just use a vector, and then every time something happens, it'll just keep adding to it. If it makes it to 1,000, cool. If it only makes it to 10, then we only use 10 spaces. Whereas an array says, I need to prepare for 1,000 places, 1,000 instances, because it may use 1,000. Well, your computer is holding space for 1,000 instances. It's holding that space open, and so that can lead to, lagginess, if you will. All right, so let's go over here, and then we're going to try that array. So theirs was that they want, let's see, this is what they were looking for. Well, see if we can get this all on one screen on this little short screen. Okay, I'll do that. And that. All right. So they're writing the EasyLanguage code that counts the number of bars when the EMA crosses under the EMA 20 on a downtrend, since EMA is crossing when crossing happens multiple times under downtrend on daily chart. Therefore, I want to store the last 3 number of bars in an array. Oh, okay, so they said only the last 3 number. Okay, so they only needed to have 3. All right, so I can read them back, but I don't know how to do it, so like help. All right, so let's see. Let's open. So ES, we will add in here. We'll add study group. I think I have something that's called a basic chart profile. So it's just my EMAs. Just my EMAs popping up on there. All right, and they don't need the second data set, so we get rid of that, and we get rid of the bid and ask. We get rid of the all that. All right, so this is my basic kind of chart setup. It's got the standard deviations up here. It has the 200 period moving average. Here's the VWAP, and just 2 lines on here for some reason. VWAP, the 9 period moving average, 15, 25 period moving average, 200 period moving average. And again, here's the VWAP and the 1+ standard deviation, or I think it's 2+ standard deviation. And then there's 2+ down below somewhere. All right, so when we're on a downtrend now, but you have to qualify downtrend, right? Because downtrend, are you talking about downtrend from larger external market structure? Or are you talking about downtrend on the intrinsic side? Or are you talking downtrend, which is defined by being under the 200 EMA? What time frame are you using? So that's, you can play with that yourself. So this is what the 1 minute time frame looks like. 5 minute time frame looks like this. So 5 minute time frame, we're not even under the 200 EMA. The red line is the 200 EMA. 5 minute time frame, we're not even under that. We are under it, under the 9 simple moving average. I'm using simple moving averages here, I'm sorry. But we're under the 9 here on the 5 minute time frame. But on the 1 minute time frame, by the time we get to the end, we're kind of playing with the 9. We're kind of hovering on the 9, but we're well under the 200. So again, how are you defining your downtrend? That would be a big question, because here we have this nice uptrend here, and so we technically broke down below it here with this nice little aggressive bar here. But are you saying we're on a downtrend yet, or are you backing out? Larger time frame, and then we're still technically in a uptrend, or are you out further, like 15 minute time frame? So that's why I think everybody's got their own personality when it comes to trading, and you trade what you see, you trade what you know. And somebody tells you it's in a downtrend, and you feel like it's in the uptrend because you're on such and such time frame, and because you observe these bars doing this or a retest here, then you go with what you know. Nobody can jump in your head. All right, so I want to get rid of that. Delete that. All right, but so for all intents and purposes, we're going to go on the 1 minute time frame since you're looking for something in the downtrend. Actually, let's get rid of these EMAs, because you're looking for the 20 and the 10 EMA. So we're going to remove this. All right, we're going to add plot 1 is going to be average. I think it's average EX. I never use these anymore because I have my own function set up. X average. I think it's X average. I don't feel like it's X average. Let's see what it is. Like I said, I never use these because I have my own stuff. So this help section for the environment stuff, this is very useful. I don't know who doesn't use this, but this is very useful. Yeah, so it is X average. Come back here. And then we're going to do X average. And then with price and length. So typically you're doing it with the close and then the length. One of them was a 20. And we'll make that the 20. We'll make it the long. And I typically do my longs in red, or my longest in red. So plot 2 is going to be X average close. That was 8. And then we'll do that one in blue. Verify that. Come back over here. Open up the study. It's called, well, it's the same study, 2 time frame. But we lost it when we updated our chart. So TS 2 time frames. Okay, so that's it there. We're going to drag it up here. Okay, so here are your moving averages. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I see what they're looking at. The 20 and the 8. So I typically use a 9 and the 15 and 25. So I would miss that 20 altogether, but the chart definitely plays with this touch, doesn't it? Well, at least on ES it does. And when it kind of touched it here, see, I think this is the joy that I get out of doing these little videos and stuff that, you know, people have questions about, is because, I mean, it's it can give you some ideas on some things that maybe you didn't see before. All right, so all this is an uptrend though. Like I said, and what I'm looking at is an uptrend. Looking at that larger move there. Now, if you drop down to a lower time frame, we probably catch this in more of a downtrend. So they're looking specifically when the EMA crosses under the EMA 20. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plot a dot when the EMA 20, EMA 8 crosses under the EMA 20. All right, so let's make some values here so we don't have to keep redoing this. We're going to say X8, X20. Well, we'll put it maybe so that they can recognize it. EMA 20 equals what it is up there. We're just going to copy and paste that. Be sure to close that, close parentheses, come up here, make sure that you declare what you have. EMA 20, EMA 8. All right. And then we're going to say if I did do it as an indicator, if EMA 20 crosses under, and this is some words that is already in TradeStation, so you don't have to come up with it yourself. You can just use the word crosses, but when you use the word crosses, you have to use over, under, or I think over, under. So I'll pull that up. So when you use the word crosses, you have to combine it. It has got to always be followed with above, below, over, under. Okay, so crosses under, so EMA 20, EMA 8. EMA 8 crosses under EMA 20. Then plot 3 we'll make it light green. We'll plot it on the let's plot it on the EMA 20. That's the value at which you're going to plot it. Are you going to plot it on the high or the low? This right here, this is the name of the line or the whatever, and then I'll just put crosses here, and then the color is green. I already know I want my style to be a little bit larger, so you have to use default as the next one, and then the size will be 3. This would be EMA 8. Did I put a? Yes, I did. All right, so verify that. EMA 20, EMA 8. Wait a minute, where? Oh. initial value. Okay, now we have these here, but they need not be connected. The natural the default is for it to connect the plot line, so we need it not to be connected. All right, but if we probably made it a line because it's not showing up. So wherever the 8 crosses under the 20, so the blue crosses under. So this right here, it should show up right here, but it's probably showing up just as a line. And if you're zoomed far out, you won't be able to see it. It should show up like right here. First of all, a line is going to need 2 points. So if this is only 1 point, then it's not going to show up. So we'll double click on the study, and then it was called crosses. And then we'll, instead of making it a line, we'll make it a cross. Okay. Hit okay. You see that show up there? Now that's awfully small. Now on my other charts, it wouldn't show up that small, just based on scaling and everything. But there you are. Okay, so that's where it crosses under. That's the several places where it crosses under. This is not, again, to me, this is not technically in a downtrend. Like you got these couple things going for it. One, you got this high here. You got the second attempt at the high there. You do have a pretty aggressive break below at least this short-term ascending trend line. So you have this break here. You got this high here, a lower high here, and so this breaks down. So technically, this could be the start of the downtrend, which, I mean, obviously, at least on a short-term perspective, it is. But again, on the larger term perspective, I guess it is too. But we looked at this on such a small time frame that I wouldn't imagine that it would then break below everything. So time frame is important, and that's why I like to trade kind of bar by bar. You can trade down here and you make this move expecting something to happen for the larger time frame, but then a news event or some larger orders or anything can happen on its way up to where you were expecting to go, and then it just will stop. So that's why I like looking really kind of like intrabar, bar by bar, and seeing what's going on and be able to make adjustments as the chart is moving. Okay. All right, yeah, the second attempt failed there. Nice large bar across. Okay, so now what you're wanting is you're wanting for the chart to, you're wanting to start an array so you can record the last 3 crosses. What is the last 3 number of bars in an array so I can read them back. Okay, so now let's make an array. We're going to call it hold C, hold cross, and it's going to be 3. Now I'm putting a 3 here, and I'm putting 0 to start in all of the places. So you're technically going to have a spot in the 0 position, and it's going to be 0. You're going to have a spot in the first position, and it's going to be 0. You're going to have a spot in the second position, it's going to be 0. And a spot in the third position is going to be 0. Now, how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct. So an array initialized with 3 spots will actually hold 4, has 4 positions because it has a 0 position. You often don't want to use the 0 position because most of the functions that are used by TradeStation doesn't use the 0 position. All right, so now that we have the array set up, that's all you have to do to set it up. Now you want to say, all right, anytime it crosses under, we want to store that bar number. Okay, so let's do this for the non-believers. When it crosses under, we're going to go ahead and open our print log. Oh, print log. Okay, so when it crosses under, then we want to plot this. But not only do we want to plot that, we want to do multiple things. So we're going to begin, we're going to plot that, and we're also going to print the bar number. And then we gotta end that. Okay. Oh, you didn't like that? Bam. Okay. So these are all the times when it crossed. These are all the bar numbers when it crossed. Did it cross that many times? Oh yeah, okay. When you go back, now we see. Now we see. Now we see. It did. It crossed a lot of times. Those aren't necessarily in a bearish market. But again, we have to define what a bearish market is because it's going to be different according to everybody. Is it a bearish market after you have a swing high of 15 bars on either side? Is it a bearish market when you're under the 200 period moving average? Is it a bearish market when you, when the larger moving averages have crossed? So that's going to be your question. All right, but you want to store the last three. So essentially we need to store. And I think I like the idea of what John was saying to put it in a vector if you want to have only the last three, because if you put it in an array, you will store 3 and then you'll erase it and then you'll store 3 more. Yeah, because you have all 3 positions taken, and then when you get the next position, it needs to start over at the first, second, and third. It's just much easier to do an array where you pop the back one. I think it makes more sense to do an array. Excuse me, a vector where you have 3 positions, and then once you have something stored in first, second, and third position, now you have another cross come over here, but instead of it having nowhere to go, it comes back to the first position. Okay. And then the one that's in the third position gets plucked off, and now you have 1, 2, 3. And now you have a new one come up, and it comes into the front again, and then it pops out on the back. So now you're only keeping 3, and then you can print those 3 out. So we're going to do it as a vector. John is the man. I mean, we all know that. He responds to everybody, and yeah, he's, I don't know. Yeah, he's the man. I wonder what he does with his coding abilities. All right, so vector. Now, I just started doing vectors here last week, so I'm not as good with vectors as I am arrays and working it through loops and everything like that. But I think you have to use the EasyLanguage system, and you have to use EasyLanguage system collections, because an array is a collection, a vector is a collection too, but I think you have to use the collections for both a vector and a stack. All right, so we're going to declare the stack vector. Yeah, vector, and we'll call it hold C. Hold C. And let's see, I'm gonna have to go and see what vector C. Yeah, I'm gonna fumble through this one a little bit, but again, it's good practice. Hold C. I don't even know if you have to declare it like that. Well, let's see. We're just going to put a 0 there, and then we'll come down and we'll say hold C equals create. What is it? New vector. And then hold C dot. I think it's front. Now, front is finding out what the front number is. Then you have push back, which pushes the the next one to the back. Let's see, is pushback? Pushback, put it at the front or the back? Pushback. Adds one, insert, removes the last, pop, adds a new element to the end. We don't want to add it to the end because we pop in the end. So, if it gets to be 3, we're popping the end. All right, so SSS removes all elements. SSS specify position. All right, so we're going to do insert. We're going to do insert it. We're going to insert it where? We're going to insert it at the first position. And then what are we inserting? Bar number. Okay. So, and all this technically needs to be within here because that's when it crosses. That's when we want to find the bar number. All right, so hold C, new vector, hold C, push back. Nope, hold C. Insert. Insert where at index 1. Because again, the vector is, I think the vector and arrays are the same type of thing. They're all collections, right? And so it does the same thing. It has a position at 0, and then it has position at 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we're going to put this at position 1 though. All right, position 1, and what are we going to put? We're going to put bar number. Okay, so we move all this up to the top. We only need to make hold C a vector 1 time, not at the start of every time. And then hold C bar number, we're going to move that here. Instead of printing the bar number, we're going to hold the bar number. All right, and then also, once we get outside of whatever happens here, we need to keep a check on our vector and say if hold C count. So if the number of items in the vector is greater than 4, because remember, we're going to have 1 at 0, 1 at 1, 1 at 2, 1 at 3. But we only need 3 actual numbers, so we have 4. So if the number is equal to 5 or greater, equals or greater than 5, then we want to pop the back because we don't want to hold that extra one. Then hold C dot pop back. I think we have to do that there because it's a method, and a method has to follow with something in parentheses, or at least, and if there's nothing to put there, then you just still have to put the parentheses, as I understand. All right, so now when we get done with that, now we have only 3 stored elements. We've popped off the last one, and now you said you want to print it. So then we're going to do print. And I saw something real interesting. John sent me one thing one time. I saw something real interesting of how to print this. So in order to print it, it was essentially, let me see, hang on. Yeah, in order to print it, you could put it in a loop, and that would print everything, which is really cool because I'm trying to figure out how to print everything. All right, so we want to print hold C at what position? At 1. We want to print hold, then we'll put a space, space, comma, space, and then we're going to print what's at hold C dot at 2, and then we're going to have space, comma, space, print what's at hold C dot at. And if you had to do a bunch of these, it would get to be hectic. And so I'm going to try putting this in a loop so it would do the same thing for us. But I think that's it. I might have to put, because when you're finding out what the data is here, I know sometimes you have to put like as type integer, as type int. So let's see what it does. My vector holds C. Oh, okay. So it wasn't initialized to a number. It's initialized. A vector is initialized to null. Okay. Vector initialized to null. Let me make a note of that. EasyLanguage. Got a lot of notes on here already. Okay. All right, and so initialize null, verify that. Now we get if hold, let's see, count equals or greater than, greater than or equal to. Okay, hold that C. So what this is saying, attempting to print an object reference, please use the dot operator and select the object memory you wish to use. That string. Because there is another one that you would add on to this dot to string. So we have the number that we want to, and I don't know why it won't just print it as a number or just call the number. It asks you to call it to a string. So I don't know. I think you have to put those empty quotations there too, because that's a method as well. To string, and then same thing for the last one. All right, verify that. Okay, so no errors, good. I'm gonna try that one other way though, and we'll see. All right, so now we're gonna clear this, come back and refresh this chart. All right, so it didn't print it. Oh, well, it must have something on it that it doesn't like because it's turned it off. I'm gonna turn it on, and it turned it off again. So I know one of the things that it won't like is if you're trying to print what's here. Well, we've already declared it here, so there should be a new vector here. But a lot of times if you're trying to print, or anytime if you're trying to print something from an object, the object has got to be created first. Well, we already created, so that shouldn't be a problem. But I want to put if hold C is not null. So that means that if hold C has actually been created. And oddly enough, I'm not getting an error, an event window, which has happened to me recently where I'm not getting an event window to pop up, but I'm still not getting the chart to do what I want it to do. EMA crosses under, so we know that this is right because we got it to fire off. And then we're gonna hold C dot insert one at bar number, and if hold C dot count is greater than or equal to 5, then hold C dot pop back. Hold C is not null, then print. Yeah, it doesn't like something. System, use that system. See that null once. hold C is greater than or equal to 5. I think it's just print line. Take that print line out. Come back up here. Turn this on. Well, you know what? We actually took out our plot. So let's... No, we didn't take out our plot. The plot should still be up. So it's something with the vector. Something with the vector. And it wasn't much to the vector. We just declared it. We made a new vector. That might be wrong. Once new vector, once OC equals new vector. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I see another way to do it, which is similar to what I've done with the trend lines and the objects, which I haven't done in a long time. So I'm actually going to need to come back and work on some trend lines and some objects. Otherwise, I'm going to lose that ability. All right, so it was vector dot create. But that's the same way that it looked with like the trend line, right? The trend line was you come down and do like trend L equals trend line dot create, and then you put the DT point and all that kind of stuff in it. All right, so this is the same. Why did I put trend line? That's on the brain, wasn't it? Hold C dot vector dot create. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, and then empty, because there's nothing else to do with that, because you're just creating the vector, you're not calling anything to it. All right, so verify that, then come back over. We need to turn it back on. Keeps getting turned off. All right, and still nothing. But I think that other way would actually work too, so this must be wrong. This line must be wrong. Yeah, that line is wrong. Hold C dot insert. Insert adds an element object before the specified index. What don't you like about that? I've done that before, and that is not an issue. Hold C. Insert. That's a method all on its own, so it doesn't need to be assigned to a variable or a value. We'll see that insert 1. Only thing I can say is if hold C is not null and EMA crosses under. Didn't like that either. Hmm. Oh, I know what it's doing. Why won't it give me that as an error? There's got to be like an event window. It tells me that's what's the event? Where's the event log? There should be something coming up, or the message center. Where's my message center at? There's got to be something that tells me that I'm having an issue, because that's crazy. But I know what it is. Just sitting there looking at it, I know what it is. All right. Where is the? I say that with confidence, don't I? Where is the event? Sprint log, position graph, trade application bars, platform toolbars, shortcuts, messages, message events log. There we go. I need to put that on a. Well, I clicked it and it didn't show up. So again, like I said, I mean, I think the computer thinks that it's showing up, but it's not. And that sucks, because that gives you some valuable information when you're trying to do stuff. It'll send you back something in the event window that says, oh no, it's not working because of this. But what it is hold.insert. I'm trying to insert bar number at index 1. Well, the vector starts off at index 0. It doesn't have an index 1 until something shows up there. Like you can't say, hey, insert. I don't think so. It's cumulative. It's a cumulative stat collection. So you can't insert something at index 100 if you don't have 99 other things. If you don't have 100 things already, your index doesn't have 100 in it. So we need to say if the count, how many is in the count, is greater than. All right, so first of all, we just need to add them. All right. So we're going to add them to the vector. Hold C dot push back. So it just adds it to the top of the collection. Push back. What are we going to add? We're going to add the bar number. Okay. Now, if all within the same thing, and we'll probably move the pop back in there too, all within this same little function area, we're going to say if hold C count is greater than or equal to 4, because that'll be that fourth place, third, fourth, just greater than 4, then I think we want to do the pop back. Yeah, which is essentially the same thing. It's just saying if it's greater than or equal to 5, then hold .c pop. Now this still doesn't solve our issue though. Pop back. But our issue now is that if we have at least 3 in the count, then we want to assign the newest one to the position 1. If we have 4 in the count, if we already have 4 in the count, then we're going to add the new one to position 1, and then we're going to pop off the back one, and then we can print. So this, we could just use this multiple times. If hold C dot count is greater than 4, then begin. What are we going to do? We're going to hold.c I'm afraid what it's doing is, even if we get to here, we have this pushback. So we're adding it as the 5th one anyway. So we need to say, if hold C dot count is less than or equal to 4, then hold.c pushback is a bar number. If hold.c is greater than 4, then begin. We're going to insert it, hold.c insert, at the first position, the bar number, and then pop the last one. Okay, I think that's right. All right, and then we're going to end that, and then we're going to print. We'll print this. We'll print this line within that function, because that function is where we had the cross at. So we can just go ahead and print it while we're there. Bada bing! I couldn't be so lucky. I am so lucky. Yeah. All right. So here we go. And $13,707, $13,697, $13,581. There's 581. 58. Just looking at how these cross over, because we want to, she wants the last 3 at any given time. So it should be, the last position will be, this will be the most recent one. This will be the oldest one. So recent one. This would be the oldest one. 1, 2, 3. This should be. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is the newest one. Next, and then the oldest one. And so this one should have the second most newest one, which is that one, and then that one, which is the oldest one here, and then that one. Yeah, so every time you come down here, you're knocking off the oldest one and you're adding a new one in front of it. Perfect. Okay, well, that's it. All right, so what did I learn here? Teaching you guys. I'm learning. I told you this is for me. This is for me. I learned here that you have to be sure to have an index position before trying to insert before the index. You have to have an index position first. There has to be that many numbers in the stack first. And I've seen that before, which is the exact same reason why you have to do like this if the hold C is not null. So if you actually have a vector set up, which we do, we have the vectors up here. If you actually have a vector set up, then you can do stuff with the vector. You can't not have the vector set up and then try to do stuff with the vector. You have to have a vector set up first. Same way, if you're trying to insert before the first index, well, you have to have the first index. You have to have the first assignment to the first index. Even if the index started at 1, if there was no initial assignment to 1, because remember, it starts off as essentially being null. So there's nothing in it. So there's not even a 0 in there. So there's no assignment in there at all. So in order to insert before an assignment, you actually have to have something assigned. That's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. Okay, good deal. All right, but I want to do this. Yeah, that's fine. Instead of printing every single one, even prior bars back, I think you could take this out of here. We're just going to copy it. And then just say if it's the last bar on the chart, then we're going to print our last values, of our vector. Okay, so when we did that and verified, now we only got the latest ones. And it, according to the request, it looks like that's what they wanted, was just kind of the latest ones. So I can read them back. Day chart, store, the last 3 number of bars, an array. So the cross would have been happening at 1307. Now these are bar numbers, 1307, 13697, and 13581. I think to make it a little bit more useful to me, because bar numbers would change. Like if you go from this 1 minute, what are we on, the 1 minute time frame? But we are at 10 days back. If you go to 1 day back, instead of being 1307, 13697, now it's 1292, 1282. So that doesn't help you a whole lot when you're looking back through your chart. If the day has changed, or if the number of bars have changed, all that good stuff. Now, I mean, if you're going to use this as a function or to relate it to another script, then fine, bar number could work for you. But otherwise, I would say you might want to also put, and I saw on one guy's chart, he must have a function set up where he just put D. Huh, it's already in TradeStation. D for date, I'm assuming D, and then space T, which is time, and then space. See, I learned 2 things today. I love it. I love it. All right, so date and time and the bar number. And actually, that's going to be the current date and time. That's not going to be the date and time of that bar number. And I think if you do bar date time, it will give you the date and time of the bar number, but you have to do a calculation for number of bars back because it references bars back. So bar date time. Bar date time. Yeah, bar date time would be of how many bars back. So essentially, it sounds like you either need to. That's where having an array would come into play, because you could assign the bar number to the first dimension in the array, the date to the second dimension, and the time in the third dimension. And then you could just clear the array with after every 3. . you wouldn't want to clear it after every 3, because then you'll end up having an array that only has one assignment to it, and then the other 2 are empty. I could see how using a loop there, you could start, instead of typically when we do like a count, we do a count up in the loop and then assign the array index to that count. But you actually want to do it in reverse fashion. So you want to start with, you don't have to. I was thinking you could start with the 3rd index and then do the 2nd index and then the 1st index. Yeah, maybe I'll do this into an array later, because I could just see how that would be more useful, because then you could have the bar date time as well as the array. I mean, as well as the bar number. What is bar date time going to print? Let's see what bar date time looks like. Yeah, boy. Yeah, I think bar date time has got to be attached to a date time object. Well, we could certainly print the date time. So this is the date time when all these crosses happened. Okay, cool. So it gives you the date and it gives you the time. 417, 11, 117, 53. What we have here? Eight, 12, 117, 53. Guess that's in the morning. And then we got that last printout of the last 3 bars that it happened at, which technically would have been these last 3 bars, right? These are the last 3 times it happened. So the cross happened. Date time, date time, date time. Yeah, because the other thing would be to make 2 more vectors and then put that information in there. Man, I don't want to do it right now, but you know what? Again, I said I'm gonna stop being lazy. I'm just gonna hold all this information and I'm gonna see if I can make an array. It took me about an hour to make this vector, so that's crazy, but hopefully it doesn't take as long to make an array. So we need to have bar number. So we're only gonna have 3 for bar number. Then we'll have 2 more. So again, the array is set up similar to columns. So the first column has, several rows, And then you have a second column, which is identified by this. So we need 3. So we have one of the columns is going to be bar number, one of the columns is going to be date, one is going to be time. We're going to initialize them all at 0. All right, and then so we're going to say you don't have to initialize, you don't have to create a vector like you do, excuse me, you don't have to create an array like you do a vector. So we just go right into it. We'll get rid of that null statement. So once we get the cross, then we're going to begin. This is where I was saying, so for one, we're going to have to delete. We got to figure out how to continue adding new array elements and only have 3. So it just overwrites. So it would be something like then begin hold C of count equals bar number. Now this is just for the bar number. And the rest of them will be similar. They just they will follow the similar kind of syntax. They'll just be different indexes, dimensions. So this is the first, this count in the first line. It will be the bar number of the count. So first of all, when we get a new count, when we get a new instance, we're going to add to the count, right? And this is where I'm trying to figure out what to do. Oh, I think I got it. So when we get to 3, when the count gets to, if the count is at 4, which means that we have a 4th instance, we'll just start over. As long as we have first, second, and third, then we'll just start back over with the first, second, and third. That'll work. All right, so if count equals 4, then count equals 0. So we just start back over. That should do it. That actually should do it. Got to declare the count. All right, no errors there. So now we're going to come up with a print statement similar to the one below. Do we have that last printout? That last printout here was 1292, 1282, 1166. Try to remember that. All right, so we're going to print. We're going to say if last bar on chart. If last bar on chart, then print. What are we going to print? Hold C of. Like I said, with a vector, you have to do all that stuff. You have to put the index, and then you have to do dot to string and then empty. Yeah. An array, you don't have to do that. Hold C at what index? count first position 1, then hold C, second position 1, and hold C, third position 1. Hold C, extra one of those. All right, no errors. Turn that back on. It still didn't like that. What did I not do? All right, so EMA, cross on the glass bar on chart and hold C. Glass bar on chart and hold C is not null. So there has to be something in the array. Count plus 1, count equals 4, count equals 0. With the array, you just have to make sure you don't go outside of the bounds of the array, which just means that the array will start from, it will have as many places as 3 and 3, which is essentially 4 places and 4 places. It starts from 0, goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 0, 1, 2, 3. So this, whatever is in our numbers here, in our spaces here, it can't be below 0 or above 3. And that's what we said. We said, oh, that's why, because count here could be 4. So I think we need to move this over here, because when it comes into this function, we have to add 1, and if count equals 4, then we need to reset to count equals 0. But then if count equals 0, it's going to put 0 right here. So we need to bring it back down here and just say if it's the third count, then we're going to reset it back to 0. And then when it gets reset to 0 and it comes back around, now what was 0 as count becomes 1, and then it becomes 1 right here. All right, very good. All right, didn't need the null statement. All right, let's turn it back on. See what we get. Okay, look at what we got. We got 1292, 1166, and 1282. We got those same numbers that we got in the vector, right? So that's exactly what we're looking for. But now what we're able to do is we're able to use this same information that was in this vector that was in that initial array. We're gonna copy that. We're gonna paste. And now that same count, now we do 1. The second position is going to be the date. And then the third position is going to be the time. And so now you've got something a little bit more useful. Okay, verify that. Okay, so we got the same stuff. Now we just need to come down here and add the date and the time with it. So hold C position 1, that first bar, and then we're going to let's put the date and the time first. So the date, we'll write date, that, D, and then we'll do comma, time, that, T, and then we'll do a space, and then you'll go from there. Okay. See, date, time, and now you have your 3 bars. So we need to do that for everyone. Let's see. What am I saying? This is the last date and time. What am I saying? All right, we need to do the date, which is going to be the whole count of 2D. Whole count of 2. Yep. Okay, and then the time. Which is, replace the T with this. Okay, now we got it. All right. Yeah, right. That is of the no, not count 1. Let's move this down here so we can see it, because everyone is going to have to be just the same. So date, time, and then the value, right? So that's what we're looking for. So the date is going to be count 1 and then 2, and the time is going to be count 1 and then 3, and then the value, which is going to be count 1. So 1 and 1. All right, and then so we just gonna copy this. And this is where putting that in a loop would be helpful if you have to do a bunch of these or something like that. So that was the first count. This would be the second count. This would be the third count. That was the second, third. And then this is of the second and the third. All right, do I have spaces between all this? All right, actually don't need one at the end. Just need to close parentheses and a semicolon. Print. Now we have it. Okay, so for the first instance that we're looking at, here's the date, here's the time, and then here's the value. And then the second instance, here's the date, here's the time. Time was 1328. The first time was 1534, and then here's the value. And then the last one, there's the date, there's the time, is 1524, and then there's the value. 1282, 1166, 1292, 1534. I'm curious though why these are not in. I know why. I think they're not in sequential order. See, this time they're all on the same date, 1520, February the 2nd. They're all on the same date, but this one is at 3:34 in the afternoon. This one is at 1:28 in the afternoon, and this one is at 3:24 in the afternoon. But they're not in sequential order. And again, I think that has to do with the count here because you have something in first position, second position, and third position. And then when you get a new one, now you're putting something back in the first position, the second position, and the third position. So if you have something in first, second, and third, and now all of a sudden you get a new one in the first, now this was the most recent, this was the recent, now the one that's in the middle is the oldest. So is there a way that we can adjust for that? For them to always be first, second, and third. Like I said, that's where the vector comes into play. And I don't know that, are vectors one-dimensional? Yeah, I think so. Zero base. They're one-dimensional. You can't have multiple like we have here. All right. Way to account for that. So we essentially want to say it was in the first position. I think there is a vector sort. Again, I've never used this, so this will be interesting for me. I think there's a vector sort. An array sort, and I don't know if you can sort it by a certain column, which if you can, that's exactly what we're looking for. Array sort. If we can sort it by the, well, we technically need to sort it multiple ways. Well, we can just sort it by the bar number. I was going to say we need to sort it by the date and the time, but the bar number should be sequential, so we sort it by the bar number. Let's see what that does. Hang on. All right, so sort array, price array, size from high to low. The order of values function sorts the values of a one-dimensional array. Okay, well that won't work unless there's another one that sorts multi-dimensional. And this is why you start putting your values in your array at element 1, because like sorting and summing and all that stuff goes from 1 up instead of another way. All right. Array sort. Let's see if there's another. Okay. So this is a 2-dimensional array. The sort 2D array function performs a link sort of values in a 2-dimensional array using the primary dimension as the key. Name. Sets the number of array elements and the size. Size in the first dimension to be sorted. Number of array elements in the second dimension to include in the sort. says the order, ascending, descending, order values in the sort 2D array function itself returns 1. The function is used to change the order. Sort is performed using the elements of the first dimension as a key. Well, when you understand that, you can come and when you're putting your array together, you be sure that if you do want to sort it like that, then whatever's in your first dimension is something that you can sort. So how does that work in my instance? I don't think it does. I don't think it helps me because I'm trying to sort the values. I'm not trying to sort the performs a linked sort of values in a two-dimensional array. This sort is going to sort according to what number is here. And all our numbers here are the same. I mean, that's going to be 1 for each iteration that it goes through. That's going to be 1, 1, 1. But this is going to be 1, 2, 3. Second iteration, time it comes around again, we find another cross. This is going to be 2, 2, 2. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. So it's sorting these guys. It's sorting these guys. It's not sorting the result. So that won't help me for this. Let's see, is there anything else for the sort? Linked heap, sort of array, sort of values in two-dimensional array. Mention. Array sort array. Then we got the two dimensions. All right, let me give it one more thought. Let me see. Brain power. Only way I could see it is if when you have 1, 2, and 3, when you get another 1, you move what's, when you get a new one, you move what's in 1 to 2, what's in 2 to 3. That would happen before the plus. That would happen before the counter adds 1. So it would be something like, it would go up here and it would say, after you find a new instance, then you're going to move. So what's in 3, you don't need to do anything with 3 because it's going to get popped off. So you need to move what's in 2 to 3. Hold C of count as it is now, whatever the number is. You're going to move that to tricky. You're going to move that to the position before it, position after it. Is that right? Because then the next thing that you're doing is you just going and adding one. So what's in 2? We're going to put it in 3. And now we're going to come down here and we're going to say, all right, well, 3 initially, when I was looking at this, I was thinking about doing a subtraction on count instead of addition. Now I'm seeing why that might work. Position 1, 2, and 3. So essentially, this would always stay. I'm thinking this would always stay 1. And then, yeah, because essentially it would always want to be the first one in. And then whatever was in position 1 goes to position 2. Hold C of 1 goes to hold C of 2. Hold C 1. Hold C of 2 becomes what hold C of 1 was. And hold C 3 becomes what hold C of 2 was. And then hold C of 1 gets a new number. It's a new assignment. Yeah, so hold C of 1 will get a new assignment. If now, do we need to do the counts? Do we need to do the counts, or are we just gonna? I think we still need to do the counts to get the first 3, and then if count equals 3, then count equals 1. Count equals 3, then count equals 0. Count plus equals 1. going to assign 1 to all of them first. If count equals 3, count equals 1. Say count equals 4. Count is less than or equal to 3, then count plus 1. Else count equals 1. So if count is less than or equal to 3, then you're going to be adding 1 to it. Or else count is just going to be equal to 1. So that means if count gets above 4, then it's going to be equal to 1. But then when it comes back around, it's going to be less than 0, less than 3 again, and it's going to assign it plus equal to 1. I needed to run those 3 iterations and then stop using count. Stop adding to count. Count is less than or equal to 3, then count plus 1. This is the pivotal part here. This is the crucial part. This is the crucial key to assigning them in correct order. If the count equals 3, then count is going to I know what I can do. I can make a separate section. Count is less than or equal to 3, then we're going to do plus 1, else equals plus 1. And then we'll say that have another number, have another one. Count is less than or equal to 3, and count S is like count stop. Count stop equals true equals false, then count plus 1. So now down here we're going to say if count equals 3, which is the end of our iterations, then count stop equals true, and count equals 1. Bingo. So we're going to start count S as being false. Count 1. And again, count as false. 1. Okay, yep, so that'll be adding 1 to it, and then we get an extra 1 added all through here. And then once count equals 3, then count S will be true, so it won't do this statement anymore, and count 1 equals N. So now after you get to the third one, everyone after that will only assign to this first position. Now you have stuff in the second and third position as well. However, the second position is going to, what's currently in the first position is going to move to the second position. What's currently in the second position is going to move to the third position. Close that. Make sure we have semicolons everywhere. Semicolon there and that. Okay. I think that's it. Oh, 2. Oh. My mind is getting worn. Getting worn. Yeah. All right, here we go. What did we get? All right, so now we have time is 15:34. Time is 18:15. And time is 18:31. That's definitely in not in sequential order. Oh, time 15:34, 18:15, 18:31. It was different dates too. Same values. No, value is 1282. 1282 and a 1282. Oh, that's because we didn't change the... Wait a minute. All we're looking at is the bar numbers that changed. So the bar numbers should be in order. That way we know our date and time is in order too. So again, if we look here, our bar numbers, we have 1282, 1166, and 1292. Those are not in order. 1292 is greater than 1166, which is less than 1282. All right, so now, because the only thing we changed are our bar numbers. We didn't change the date time stuff as of yet. But so we need to look at our bar numbers. Bar numbers is 1292, 1282, right direction so far, and 1282. We have two 1282s, so we have a duplication. So why was it duplicated? Again, we have what was in position 1 went to position 2. What was in position 2? Oh, wait a minute. I think I need to do this in different order first, because we had something in position 1, 2, and 3, but then we took what was in 1 and put it in 2. And now we're taking what was in 2 and put it in 3. So now what was in position 1 gets added to 2 and 3. And then we get something new in 1. So we need to do, probably just swap these. Kudos to the person who's like really doing this coding stuff and has some objectives to accomplish, and they put in all this time, and it like really makes a difference in their charting, coding, trading, right? Because this is a lot of time and effort. All right, so Now we had something in position 1, 2, and 3. And then we come back up here and we say, all right, what was in position 2? Put it in 3. Now what was in position 1? Put it in 2. There we go. All right, so now we have the value, which is 1292, is greater than 1282, which is greater than 1166. Good job. Okay. Pat myself on the back. Pop my collar. You know. All right. Finally. All right. So again, we did this with the vector down here, but we got the data, which was not in, we got the data, I think it was in, 1290. No, it still wasn't in order. 1292, 1166, 1282. Right? So now we have the 1292, 1282, and 1166. We have it in order in which it shows on the chart. Now these are bar numbers, so they should be, latest, most recent, and then the oldest, right? So now that we have them right, and we have them in order, which we probably needed to fix that on the vector as well, but no worries, we got it solved here. The vector shouldn't have had that problem though, because you're just inserting the front, popping on the back. So I'm not sure why that vector had that problem. No, this was the vector here. The vector did it right. 1292, 1282, 1166. The vector was a great option. But again, the vector did not it did not give us the date and the time at which they happened, or any other crucial pieces of information that we might have wanted. Now we have that template to put that here. I'm actually gonna have to save this template so I don't have to do this again over. But if I want to do something like this, then I've already got the template for it. So thank you to whoever asked that question on TradeStation, and yeah, now we're good. All right, so what I want to do though is, one, I want to add value before this, and two, I wonder, can I do this as an integer instead of a double? Right, the bar number, you see how when I came over to the array, it did it as a double instead of an integer. Integer is just here. Double has decimal places thereafter. I know I could do it with a round function, but let's see. That is bar number. I think I have to do everything as a. Can I do that here? Just say that this is going to be integer. The array is going to be integer. Yeah, even though I said it was going to be an integer, it still put, decimal places thereafter. So anyway. All right, what did I want to do? I know I wanted to add value here, but beyond that, we're good to go. Oh, I didn't do it for, I need to. So I have the bar numbers right, but I haven't done anything with the date and time. So I need to do the same thing. You see, I did this for the, this is for the first dimension, if you will. So that first column, we need to do it for the second column and the third column. So we're just gonna copy. Just paste that and then paste that, and then we can put it together. Update values for the bar number. Update values for date. Almost, it sounds like this almost could have been a method, could have been made into a method. Not that good with methods, but I see that coders are using it all the time, so I've got to learn a little bit more about methods. All right, so the date time is position 2, so this just needs to be 2, 2, 2, 2, and now we'll get the actual 3, 3, Now we'll get the actual date and times associated with those bar numbers. Verify. Okay. All right, so I got the value on one of them. I need to add value for the other ones. Oh, I did. There, value. Okay, down date value. All right, so we have the date time value again, so everything is sorted. Most recent to the earliest, 1292, 1282, 1166. Now we have the right date and time, February the 2nd at 1328, February the 2nd at 1524, and February the 2nd at 1534. All right, good. All right, so that's pretty much it. Guys, appreciate you for watching this, and I'm glad that I was able to put something together. I didn't think I'd spend this much time doing it, but again, we do have the vector down there that you can use to do the same thing. So I did it two ways, with the vector and the array. And with that, my good friends, we are out. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.